I am so excited about the opportunity we have this morning. Last week I preached on Luke 18 and talked to you about the necessity that Jesus really wanted to communicate to his followers about prayer, that men ought to be praying at all times. And the reason why they ought to be praying at all times is because the Son of Man is coming at a time when no one will expect him to come. And Paul says in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, knowing the terror of the Lord, we persuade men to come to Christ. This morning I want to introduce you to three ministries that are really, I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to share with you this morning. There are opportunities for you to pray, number one. And then secondly, opportunities for you to get involved. We want you to be involved in local church, to go and to attend and to get involved with your churches. But also, there are opportunities with these three ministries, and I'm so excited. So guys, I don't want to take any more of your time. Come on up. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves, and we'll go from there.
All right.
And
my name is Jerry Major, and I'm the Executive Director for the Northeast Pennsylvania Youth for Christ here and based in Scranton, but throughout all of Northeast PA.
And my name is Frank Passetti. I've been on staff with Youth for Christ for the past 7 years. I am the director up in Susquehanna County, not too far north of here.
All right. I was asked just to give you an idea of kind of the things that we do in youth ministry and really open it up to you to be involved in what we do. So in Youth for Christ, as a local nonprofit, we are just like missionaries, and we consider ourselves missionaries to this generation of teenagers. And we work, right now we work with just high school students, and we work with actually 6 different area high schools in this region, and then 1 more high school down in Monroe County. Our 3 main ministry models, first is Campus Life, and Campus Life is a strategy of building a ministry to a school. So it's, kids know it as we do a big Campus Life Club meeting 1 night a week, but really it's more than that. It's about building relationships with kids so that we can share the gospel with them. So with Campus Life, our meetings might be on Tuesday nights, but oftentimes we're at the football games on Friday nights because that's where the whole community hangs out. The football players, the cheerleaders, the band, their parents, and we always say, and the 7th and 8th graders making out behind the scoreboard. So everybody's there. So Campus Life, we do going to reach kids, meet new kids, and then also to build relationships with kids. We do a lot of what we call building times, where we build relationships. We do a lot with water skiing and wakeboarding during the summer, and then doing just different activities during the winter. And then also appointments, which are when we say to a kid, hey, you know what? You said the other day in Campus Life that you wish you were 2 people so you could live with both your mom and your dad. Can we just get together and talk about that sometime? I'd love to hear more about that. And so we would take them to McDonald's or Burger King or something, sit down and have a talk with them, and want to move them further in their relationship, either toward Christ or to open up their heart to accept Christ's forgiveness. So that's Campus Life. And then we have City Life that is just starting. This is a tool that's been in YFC's toolbox for a while, but we're just now beginning it at our office, which is down in Scranton. The City Life is basically like Campus Life, but more of an urban feel. So we're kind of targeting Scranton and West Scranton high schools, as well as South Intermediate and West Intermediate, to have kids just come out, hang out at our building. We have got a big ministry room, and be able to build relationships with kids that way. So that's City Life, and that'll be meeting on Thursday nights during the school year. And then another one, Frank's daughter Lauren runs what's called Parent Life. And Parent Life is geared toward pregnant and parenting teenagers, mostly through Scranton and West Scranton high schools, and 1 other high school in the area where we have most of our kids are involved. I'm also privileged to lead a committee for Lackawanna County for all the nonprofits that work with pregnant teenagers. And so we do an Empowering Young Parents Conference, and that'll be in October, and we will need some volunteers for that as well. But that's just, it's not Christian per se, but we get to lead it and we get to influence it. Frank and I both have taught seminars there from a biblical perspective, and so it's just one of those doors God has opened up. So there's Campus Life, which is our ministry to public high schools, and then City Life, which is more of an urban field at our building down in Scranton, and then Parent Life. which is working with pregnant teens. So Lauren needs help with whether part of a meeting, doing parts of the meeting, sharing the gospel, or doing a devotional, or crafts or something like that. They have the teenagers bring their kids, and so we need people to watch the babies, oftentimes during the school year as well. So there's a whole lot of different things that you can, that are there as possibilities. Basically, if I were to give it in a short, one-sentence thing, it would be, we're looking for young people that would like to influence young people locally here and build relationships with them. I know when my son went to a college, he went to a Christian college, he started a relationship with a kid in his freshman year, and he's now out of college for about 5 or 6 years, and he still keeps up that relationship with that kid and that family. And I think that's pretty cool, and I think you have the opportunity to do that. Frank, do you want to add anything?
You didn't mention Project Serve.
Okay, Project Serve. You could get involved with that. Next summer, we're hoping to do another trip back to Ghana, West Africa, where we're working with our Youth for Christ ministry in Ghana to build a school for kids who can't afford to go to school. And it'll be like actually a vocational training center for some older kids. And so that'll be coming up next summer.
I want you guys to know that these men are heroes. I mean, these guys are warriors, and they have been in the stuff, working to reach young people for Christ for decades.
Yeah, I've been doing Youth for Christ full time for 26 years.
Yeah, and Frank was youth pastor at my church for 15 years, and now he's on staff here, and he teaches our youth courses. And we're excited to have him as part of CSU and to partner with you guys in ministry. So please, students, pray for Youth for Christ, and then ask God if he would have you be involved. Okay? That's what we're challenging you about. That's what we're excited about. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much.
Frank, Jerry, did you go to BBC? Okay. Well, Frank is a BBC and BBS grad, seminary grad. And Ryan is an alumnus of our school. What year did you graduate? 2018 graduate, and he is going to talk about the ministry that he's involved in. Ryan Buchanan.
Good morning, everyone. How are you? Okay, that was really weak. Let's try that again. How are you? All right, we'll work on that. All right, so as Boykin said, my name is Ryan Buchanan, and I am a 2018 graduate of CSU. And I work for the ministry called Keystone Mission. We are a faith-based homeless rescue mission with a location in Scranton and Wilkes-Barre. And our goal is transforming the lives of homeless men and women through relationships by the hope of the gospel. What we really want to see is men and women who are homeless, who are on the streets, living in the woods, living under the bridges, who are in abandoned buildings. We want to see them transformed and to become productive members of society once again. And how we do that is by building relationships with them. And how we do that is through our programs. The gospel is the most essential thing to our programming ever, because it is what brings life transformation. I think each and every one of you can attest to it because of how God transformed your life through the hope of the gospel, through the good news. And what we're doing at Keystone Mission is sharing that good news, because we want every man and woman that walks through our doors to understand that there's a God that deeply loves them, and that they do not have to stand and stay in that position that they're in, that they don't have to take on the title of homelessness, that they can actually be transformed and be productive members and use the gifts and abilities that God has actually given them, because they are treasured and they are valued. Just a little bit about Keystone Mission. We have been in Scranton since 1995. A pastor from California came all the way to Scranton, Pennsylvania, because God put it on his heart to start a homeless rescue mission over here. So with the help of our national conference, which is City Gate, they established what was called the Wyoming Valley Rescue Mission, and with the help of 4 other rescue missions in Pennsylvania, we started. From 1995 to 2005, we lay dormant, and basically what we did as an organization was just delivered food to homeless out of the back of a truck. In 2005, we became a full-fledged 501c3 and then started offering programs that really took them on this path. Now, in the last 2 years, we've really did a huge overhaul of all of our programmings, because what we understood as a staff, we read a book called Helping Hurts. When you just give clothes and food to the same person over and over again, that's not helping them to get out of that. What's helping them is going to be honest with them, saying, look, we can help you get out of your situation. It's just going to take some work and effort on your side, but we're willing to walk that path with you. That's really what Jesus did with all of us in our lives, and continues to do with us. He walks the path, but also the body of Christ does the same thing. At Keystone Mission, that is what we're doing. We're walking that path with each and every man and woman that walks into our doors and says, I want to change. We're sharing them the good news. And so the last 2 years, our program is rooted in the gospel, but the tools that we use really help transform lives. And so what we mean by that is we're doing, we got what's called our 5 pillars of transformation. The first pillar is called the Genesis process. And so our staff is trained to do behavioral cognitive therapy with our guests. We are not the counselors. Our goal is by this training to get conversation started so we can lead them to healthy counselors in the community. Because what we want to do at Keystone Mission is we want to bring them to the community to get them the help that they need. And then we're going to do job readiness. We're going to bring in people that's going to train them. We have contractors that are going to come in and teach them the trade and then hire them. And then once they're established and get the licensures, then they're able to go off and find a new job. We're going to do spiritual training. We're inviting pastors and organizations and CSU. We want you to be involved. If you're a pastoral major, if you're a youth ministry major, if you're a specialized ministry, if you're any major and you want to share the gospel and be a part of this training, we want you to come. We're going to do life skill training. A lot of our guests don't even know how to take care of themselves. They don't know how to brush their teeth. They don't know how to comb their hair. Because these are things that we take for granted that they never do on the day-to-day basis. They sleep in the same clothes. Yesterday in the rain, and I'm not trying to guilt you all and make you feel bad, but the reality is they were all sitting outside in that rain all day. Now, our day center was open, so we had them come in, but that's only for a few hours. In the city of Scranton, there's only one shelter, and that shelter is only for a night. So, and they can only take a limited capacity. So imagine the reality of you if you had to go and sleep outside in the woods underneath a tarp all night in the rain. That's miserable. We don't want that. So Keystone Mission is building a new transformation center in Wilkes-Barre. It's going to be 15 beds, and we're starting with male. And so we're going to take men across northeastern Pennsylvania, not just Lackawanna and Luzerne County, but all of northeastern Pennsylvania who desires to change their lives. We're going to give them the opportunity to come in and be enrolled in the program and learn how to transform their lives. And we're going to be working with the community. We're going to have doctors. We're having colleges come in and offer GED classes. We're going to get them the proper training that they need. We're going to teach them how to become productive members. And it takes time. We understand it takes time because for them, in their mind, they're in what's called the fight or flight mode. If any counseling majors, the limbic system, all they know how to do is respond. And they're just responding. I'm hungry, I'm going to go steal something. I'm thirsty, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do that. That's not how they were meant to be. And a lot of them are facing mental illness, which is really hurting them because of how they're thinking. So I just want to give you some opportunities where you can pray for us because we need prayer. As a faith-based organization like Youth for Christ and Mission Scranton, we need prayer. We need our donors, we need our volunteers, and we need our local community members to bask us in prayer because we are out there fighting for these individuals. Our CEO sits on the National Summit of Homelessness at the White House, and he's there fighting for the rights of homeless individuals because they do have rights. A lot of people don't see them as having rights because they don't have college degrees, they don't have their IDs, they don't have birth certificates, none of that. So he's out there actively fighting, and that's what we're doing. But we're also actively transforming their lives with the hope of the gospel. The second thing is, if you want to volunteer, we got great opportunities. Come and serve a meal on the weekends and share the gospel. So what we do is, in Wilkes-Barre, we actually go out into the city. We find the guests where they're at. We build relationships with them. We serve them a meal, and we share the hope of the gospel and pray with them. In Scranton, we do it from our building, because where we are in Scranton is the hub of where they all live. And we do the same thing there. If you want to come into our day center, sit and talk with the guests, great. Because they're looking for someone to listen to them and to treat them like a human. And the third opportunity is we got internships. This year we are offering internships for case management. If you're a counseling major, whether you're in the undergrad or graduate level, come and work with us. We've been in contact with Dr. Linnell Buchanan about building internships for case management, whether it's at our Scranton location or our Transformation Center in Wilkes-Barre. And we got marketing. Business students, accounting students, communication students, I need help. We're growing, and we have great opportunities for interns to come and... You gonna interrupt me? Okay. What was my program when I was here at BBC? I'm at CSU.
Yes.
It was BBC when I started. Business administration.
Okay, so Ryan's a business major who has a passion for people, for lost people, and God is using him and his business skills to do this ministry and to take this ministry to the next level. And Ryan's done a lot in your specific areas of work are?
So I oversee the fundraising of the whole organization. I do the marketing, the communication, public relations, and the IT.
Okay, so there's a lot of opportunities in all those areas for students to get involved. So it's not just people who are interested in being a pastor or being a missionary, right? If you're a business major but you want to use your skills and abilities and the things that you're learning for God and for the furtherance of the gospel, Scranton Rescue Mission is a great way to get involved, and not only get involved in ministry, but also build your resume and your ministry, your work experience.
I would even say education majors, as we're offering the GED courses, there will be opportunities where you can come and counsel, but also mentor the guests as well. I love what God is doing at Keystone Mission, because we are taking the hope of the gospel and giving it to people who need it. And as believers, that's what we're called to do. Share the gospel and give every man, woman opportunity to hear and receive it. If you have questions, I'll be down here. Love to talk to you. We'll also be here next Friday for the Ministry and Job Fair. You can talk to me more about our internships. Our program manager and our director of our new shelter will be here as well. You can talk to them. If you want to come in and see us, have lunch with us, just hang out, great. Thank you, everyone. Boykin, thank you so much.
And Youth for Christ is going to be here at the Job and Ministry Fair as well, right? Next Friday. Our last guest is Nate Miller. He's going to talk to you about what God's done in his life. And
all right.
go.
What's up, guys? Hey, it's great to be back here. Some of you might know me from just last year, the years before. I was working here at CSU from 2015 until this past spring, working in the mailroom and back there with the media team. Shout out media team, you guys do awesome. These guys, if these guys were not here, this would not be running. Props to you guys, a little shout out. But yeah, I graduated here in 2015. I was a communications major, and I got involved with Mission Scranton as a student. And so I kind of want to speak to that from just you guys and where you're at right now. I get where you're at. I've been where you're at. And coming into college, my perspective was not so much ministry. Or I wanted to like help out with the church, be a part of that, but that wasn't something that I was super passionate about. So for me, my big drive was the American dream. My big drive was focusing in on my career, and then the parts of my life where I could serve God, we'll get to that. You know, I can use that as part of my life. But God, as I got involved with Mission Scranton, we had to get involved at that point because we had ministry credit, so it was required to be part of a ministry. So I jumped into that, no idea what I was getting into. And so this ministry, we're an inner city ministry. So we go into low-income housing communities in the heart of Scranton. And in these places, there are just a lot of challenges. And now for me, I was a small-town country boy coming into college here. And then going into the city, my eyes were just opened to just a different world. And I had a lot of assumptions that just got broken down. And one of those assumptions, while I was running a small group with a boy, we're going through the gospel of Jesus. And we're going through the story of where he goes and he dies on the cross for our sins. And we go on to say, and 3 days later, he came back to life. And one of these boys turned to me and he's like, "He's alive?" I'm like, "Yeah." Woo, wow. So like, I had this assumption coming in from a small town where it was fairly religious. And I go into this area and I find out that people may know about Jesus, but they don't know that he came back to life. Now, what kind of hope is there if we have that half story without Jesus coming back to life? Even this past summer, we were reaching a new neighborhood. We're trying to launch a new ministry there actually this fall that you could be a part of. And as I was there and sharing the gospel with these kids, same question. Like, "Hey, you guys know who Jesus is?" "Yeah." "You know he died?" "Yeah." "What happened after that?" Silence. People don't know what you think they might know. What you have is a gift. The knowledge that you have, the presence of God in your life is a gift. And us coming in here and connecting to you guys to go out and minister to others, like, this is rare to have this many young believers here. And the big thing that we don't want to do, that I was doing for, even while I was serving at Mission Scranton, I still wasted so much of my life. I was still really consumed with the world, and God worked through that in many different ways. But you guys can waste what you have. And take time to learn and grow here, but jump in and serve with us as well. Just a little bit about Mission Scranton and what we do. So our mission is to empower the inner city family and youth with hope by connecting them to life-changing opportunities. And so that life change is connecting them to the gospel of Jesus Christ. Much like Youth for Christ, and Keystone Mission, we're very relationship-driven. And so we're not coming in necessarily just speaking a message and getting out of Dodge and getting out of town. Like, we're going there, we're connecting, we're building relationships and trusts in this community, and through that, sharing the hope of Jesus and trying to then make disciples there. And so what I love about our ministries is, like, we're really looking to take people out of the church and from here and mobilizing them to the people out there that aren't being reached. The people that we are reaching, a lot of them would not walk into a church building. It's just not that easy. It's just not gonna happen that way. You might think, "Oh yeah, there's so many churches around, they can get there." There's many different challenges to jump through that. And so what we want to do is to take the body of Christ, the brothers and sisters of Christ, you guys, to them to be a light and to make disciples there. And practically for us, we do ministry all year round. Right now we've been in one specific neighborhood, and we've been pouring into that since I started in 2012 and before that. But every week we're serving on Mondays. We have a program called Elevate. During that program, we're doing like a Bible study program with the kids, and then we're developing the teens, pouring into them, and then throughout that night, we're also using different things to develop life skills. For instance, we have our teens that are organizing a store, and they're managing the store and serving the kids by running that, and they're working with currency, and they're learning different things like that. So that's one way that we're holistically loving on them on Mondays. And then on Wednesdays, we have teen night, which is a lot like a youth group. And so that's specifically working towards connecting with the teens and making disciples there. This past summer, we had 3 of our teens give their lives to Jesus at camp, which was super awesome. We have one teen girl who's just asking a lot of incredible questions, and she is just ready to learn and grow. And so it's amazing to see. I worked with the ministry for like 4 years. I never saw anybody get saved within that 4 years. So you just never know. You never know when that could happen. So that's Wednesday night, working with our teens. Now, possibly on Thursday night, I'm not set on this yet. We're looking to launch a new ministry site in a new neighborhood. And so we have 3 housing projects in South Scranton. We're on the lower one called Valley View Terrace. And then we just did some outreach at one called Hilltop, which is about a mile above us. And so we did outreach there this summer with Heritage, and the people and the parents were super receptive to what we had to say. And we had a few people respond to the gospel, and then they were like, hey, are you coming back out? Like, well, hopefully, we're planning on it. One girl was saying, I'm gonna come out here every Thursday to see if you guys are back. So what we're hoping to do is to get into that community. What makes us unique is that we're trying to go to where they're at. Right now, with our current neighborhood we're working with, because of COVID last year, we couldn't run in the neighborhood community room, so we had to drive them to local churches to run our programs. We feel like we have a good bridge built there, so we're going to continue doing that. But now with Hilltop, we want to start in the neighborhood community room or in someone's home and launch a ministry. So right now, that team, I've got 2 people on that team, so that's the one where we really need to build up that launch, and I have no idea what it's going to look like, but I think God's going to do some amazing things there. And then on Sundays, we are transporting them to church. God just blessed us with a van, so a lot of you guys in the dorms last spring were fundraising for the Mission Scranton van. Well, we finally got it. We got it in August, and God provided a really great deal. It's right there. The market was absolutely insane this summer trying to shop for vehicles. And so I almost was considering just buying a clunker just to get by because we needed it for this year. And then our camp director we were working with found this on Facebook Marketplace, so we checked it out. And they told us what they were selling it for. And it could have easily have been sold for another $10,000 more. And I asked the guy, I was like, hey, I raised like $23,000 for this. Could you budge on this? He's like, no, I think I already underpriced it. And I looked online, I'm like, yeah, he did. So we took advantage of that and got that, and now we have this where we can drive you guys from here to where we're serving, drop you off, and then pick up the kids and bring them to our location. So that's the layout of that. And just a quick question, how many of you have heard of the Great Commission? Raise your hands if you've heard of the Great Commission. All right, put your hands down. All right, that's a decent amount of you. I've been asking teens at different camps and conferences of how many people know about that, and not a lot of people do. And according to a Barna survey, it says that 51% of churchgoers do not know what the Great Commission is. So here, you guys, it was well over 50% here that you guys knew that, but this is the thing you have to realize. Realize the world that you're in. Stop assuming that people that are gathering at local churches, people in the community, know what you know. People that are attending church don't know what the Great Commission is. To go make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. So for us to get saved, it doesn't just start with you're saved, period, that's it. That is amazing to get to that point. But as Jesus calls his disciples, he says, hey, I want you to follow. I'm going to save you. But I want to use you. And so the same thing for you guys. Our purpose is once we're saved, it's a gift that we have that. Go use that. Go use that in your dorm, in your church, in a local ministry. Pour out what you have there. In closing, just as I was a college student here, throughout my time, some people might say, like, oh, yeah, Nate was involved in Mission Scranton. He was doing great guy. I was so consumed with the world still. I was serving in ministry, doing good things, but I was still trying to live for myself.
Nate, how did you get involved with Mission Scranton?
How did I get involved?
Yes.
I was getting to a good point there, but we'll be back to that. How did I get involved? I actually got involved from some friends that just invited me to come out to it. It was my ex-girlfriend, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So he got involved through his girlfriend, and then God did some amazing things in Nate's life, and now he's leading that ministry, and you never know. You never know.
Yeah. And so the big thing that God really taught me was like the Luke passage where Jesus is saying, pick up your cross and follow me. Lose your life for my sake and you'll find it. Whenever you get over yourself, whenever you see that Jesus is worth everything, once you give that up and you just go all in for him, you really discover what it really means to live. And so that's my encouragement to you guys, and some of you guys might learn that. It might take longer for you to learn that, and hopefully you get there, but that's my encouragement to you guys. So if you want to get involved with us, we'll be at the fair next week, and be praying for our new outreach that we're hoping to launch here this fall in Hilltop.
Thank you.
You.
You can take that mic down there. As Nate's going down, I'm going to ask you guys some questions. What did God do through your ministries as a result of the pandemic? What opportunities did you have? What did God do? And you guys can just.
I can say one thing. We found out that when we switched to a Zoom and trying to do our club meetings with Zoom, the kids that gravitated to it stayed with it. Kids that were like, I'm not doing that. Whether I'm on school and doing that. So I'm not going to do that for campus life too. So there were some kids that fell away. So it took more of us to do home visits and drop off food and pizza and donuts and stuff like that. We did a lot of those. But one of the things it taught us was it reminded us of the importance of small groups and the intensity that small groups make. And so all of our clubs became smaller because there were kids that couldn't come, wouldn't come, or were afraid to come, or whatever. So that those smaller groups created some deeper relationships. One of the things too is we planned ahead a little bit, and we started raising money specifically for a trip when the pandemic broke. And so we were able to give $350 to each kid to go on a trip that cost $450. So it was a whole week-long trip at the beach. And so we were able to build into those kids, through the smaller groups, and then have them come out to a large activity. That was a huge plus for us.
So Keystone Mission opened, so back in March of 2020, our CEO went to the mayor of Scranton and said, hey, we need to provide a service to the homeless because with everything being shut down, they literally have no place to go to hang out, to receive the services that they need. And so in conjunction with the city of Scranton, we opened a shelter at the Weston Field House for 2.5 months. Our CEO lived there apart from his family for 2.5 months. We brought in 42 homeless individuals, and we housed all 42. Now, when we say housed, what we mean is that we either sent them to drug and alcohol rehab, which was through Pyramid, Just Believe, or Adult and Teen Challenge. We got them reconnected with some families that were looking for them. We had 2 ladies, actually girls, who were 18 and pregnant. We got them into a service that was able to help them get clean and to help them have a healthy baby girl. Both baby girls are doing well, from what we're told. And we also got individuals to get apartments through federal funded programs. So we worked with the city of Scranton during a pandemic to bring relief to individuals that had no place to go, and we gave them hope. And through that, that's what kind of helped us start our focus to bring transformation into northeastern Pennsylvania, was through that program.
Yeah, so we had to adapt last year and continue to try running programs at local churches. So we had some partnerships there developed, which were really neat. And the teens and kids, they had nothing else happening because they were all doing online school. So we were like their thing that they went to during the week, which was great. And then we had volunteers last year that helped us just get through a really challenging time. So if you volunteered with Mission Scranton last year, go ahead and stand up. Stand up. if you volunteered last year. These guys were troopers last year to help keep us going, so shout out to these guys.
So the pandemic didn't stop you guys from doing ministry and actually gave you different kinds of opportunities. And I watched and listened as you guys shared with me and others about how you had to adapt and how you had to do things differently in order to get the good news to people who need to hear it. Bringing meals, doing those kinds of really practical things that would help with the opportunities then to share the good news about what Jesus Christ has done. I want you guys to know that this is an opportunity for you, number one, to pray. We spent yesterday in a concerted time of prayer and took the opportunity to pray. And so as we close chapel today, I'm going to ask you guys to pray for these three ministries. I'm going to ask you to pray that God would continue to bless them, that God would raise up, even maybe from your group, some who would volunteer and work with these ministries, and for the great opportunities. I went to school to be a church planner, and I had a conversation with Nate about the Hilltop section, and there's no church in the Hilltop section of Scranton. No Catholic church, no Mormon church, no church at all, no kind of church. And they went into that community, and those folks were excited about what they were doing and about the opportunity to have somebody share the gospel and to share the good news and to work with their young people. And I'm so excited about what you guys are doing and what God might do there, just because that's like where my heart is in so many ways. But I'm excited about all three ministries, and I hope you guys are too. And the excitement is not just for me. The excitement is for the opportunity that you guys could have. Business majors, counseling majors, education majors. It doesn't matter what your major is. There's opportunities for you through these ministries that could actually build your resume to help you be career ready as well as Christ-centered and share that good news that Jesus wants us to share in the Great Commission. So I'm going to ask you, we just have like a few minutes left, I'm going to ask you if you would turn to your neighbor and pray. Pray for Scranton Rescue Mission, Keystone Rescue Mission, Mission Scranton, and Youth for Christ. So let's take a few moments to pray, and then you'll be dismissed. Thank you.